Reporting in Palm Beach this morning. Thank you, Leo. For more on the Trump indictment, let's welcome in former Massachusetts Congressman Barney Frank and former Principal Deputy Press Secretary at the White House, Hogan Gidley. Good morning. Great to see you both. Congressman, we'll start with you. You served in Congress for 30 years. You look at this ABC News poll out yesterday, 55% of Americans do not support this Trump indictment. Where does this stack up historically, politics aside? How historic is what we're about to see tomorrow?
Well, it's totally historic. Good in one way, bad in another, in my judgment. I have always disagreed with those who said presidents should not be subject to criminal process either when in office or after, and I'm glad to see that people aren't arguing that case. But I think it's a bad indictment. I don't think it should have been brought. I think it is a kind of technical violation at most that should be, if anything, pursued civilly by the election law people. I think it is a mistake. I think in fact, it's going to have an interesting effect. It obviously further polarizes the country. What I've seen is a degree of anger that I hadn't seen before, certainly not for a while, among Republicans and Trump supporters,
right,
and a deal of happiness among Democrats. And I think it's just, I don't share that. I think it was a mistake to bring that indictment.
Yeah, and it seems completely political, Hogan. I thought this was fascinating. So Jeb Bush, he and the former president, not close friends, I think. Jeb Bush tweeted out his support of Donald Trump yesterday. Bragg's predecessor didn't take up this case. The Justice Department didn't take up this case. Bragg first said he would not take up the case. This is very political, not a matter of justice in this case. Let the jury be the voters. What's your take, Hogan, on the week that's in store?
Well, he's not wrong, and Barney Frank hit on something I think is significant, too. When you're talking about Jeb Bush, who you just put up his tweet moments ago, you talk about Hillary Clinton, you talk about Barack Obama, all of whom were found to have campaign finance violations, either through their PAC or through their direct campaigns. They were all just forced to pay a fine. That was it. There was no mugshot. There was no indictment. There was no parading them around as some type of criminal. That's just kind of what happens in these particular instances. These are big apparatuses, are these national campaigns. Mistakes are sometimes made. I'm not even saying a mistake was made here. But the fact is, these people just had to pay fines. But the poll you cited at the beginning, I think it's also important to note 62% of this country believe this indictment's politically motivated. 70% of independents also agree that it's politically motivated. So for all the talk that Donald Trump is going to alienate the independents, the center left of the country, with the events that have transpired with an indictment, the fact is most people view this as political because that's exactly what it is. Experts on the legal front, like Alan Dershowitz, said that a first-time law student could defend this case against Trump. It's so simple. And that Jonathan Turley pointed out it's legally pathetic. So on the legal side, it's a problem. On the political side, though, it could be a boon for the president. You've talked about the finance numbers. The speech will happen tomorrow night, depending on a gag order, of course.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. But right now, it looks like it's going to help him, not hurt him.
Congressman, if that gag order is implemented by the judge tomorrow, would you go so far to say that this is election interference with the leading Republican candidate for the nomination?
Oh, a gag order would be outrageous. In fact, I think gag orders against defendants are generally a bad idea. You don't, in my judgment, accuse someone of something and then deny her or him the right to defend themselves. I see no reason for a gag order here. There's nothing that's going to be influencing people. That would be a great mistake. And I think, I agree with Hogan, that this clearly is helping Trump within the Republican Party. I don't think it makes much difference in November. That is, I can't see anybody who was going to vote for Trump now saying, oh, I can't vote for him.
Oh, that's interesting, Congressman. Okay, so you don't think that Trump will win back any voters that he might have lost between 2016 and 2020?
Within the Republican Party, yes, but not in November.
Okay.
Oh, I think this is a problem for Ron DeSantis. I think Ron DeSantis today has subpoena envy. I think he is jealous of the extent to which Trump, that's an old William F. Buckley line that I borrowed.
Right.
He sees Donald Trump as gaining in this within the Republican Party, and he's stuck. Here's Trump, who's been viciously attacking DeSantis, but DeSantis has no option but to come to Trump's complete defense.
Let me put up the poll for
Right.
you, Hogan. This is the McLaughlin poll that got everyone's attention over the weekend. Donald Trump up head-to-head with Ron DeSantis, 63 to 30%, and then with all of the possible GOP candidates, including the candidates that have already announced, he's at 51%, 30 points ahead of Ron DeSantis right now. Hogan, here's the other side of that. Do you think that the Democrats, and I'll include Alvin Bragg here, but do you think the Democrats would prefer that Joe Biden run again against Donald Trump and not Ron DeSantis?
Yes.
Look, I don't know what the Democrats want. I'm not going to try and get in their heads, obviously, but I would say they're going to try and vilify whoever the nominee is. Obviously, they unify around Donald Trump like something we've never seen. In 2016, what Donald Trump did was he threatened their power structure. He threatened their hierarchy and the fiefdoms that they'd spent decades building.
Yeah.
And they don't want their power taken away at all. And so they went on this kind of jihad for the last 4 years, going after Donald Trump's family, his friends, his staff, his companies, and not to mention him personally with Russia, with a impeachment 1 and 2, and of course this indictment, not to win. They're not going to win these things, but it works to taint. The same thing that happens, though, if a gag order is issued. Trump can't talk about it, but the leaks will come out because the leaks will be designed to make the case against Donald Trump without giving him the voice to fight back.
Okay.
That also is going to be a real problem. I agree with Congressman on that, too.
All right, I'll tell you what, we'll pick this up as the week moves on. The number that sticks out to me, though, Trump's only at 47 to 43% head-to-head with Joe Biden. That was a part of that McLaughlin poll from over the weekend. You would think that number would be higher. It's just not. Barney Frank, Hogan Gidley, thank you. Appreciate it.